Let's talk about laser cartridges and their efficacy in dry fire.
The Black Arch Protoss holster is the only hybrid-like holster that I can recommend. It does everything that a holster needs to do and is great for strong side carry. They're part of our holster consortium. Go check them out at the link in the description.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am Christopher Beam with Tactical Advantage, and I wanted to talk a little bit today about laser cartridges and the benefits and potential detractions in your dry fire. So there's really two predominant schools of thought. One being that any tool you use in dry fire is just a net negative, and it's causing issues with your reliance on said device and could render your dry fire ineffective. And the other school is people that use these tools to kind of increase or validate their work. I kind of land somewhere in the middle there. So this is a laser cartridge, and what it does, it goes in the chamber of your gun, and it has a little area on the back that your firing pin hits, which sends a laser beam to whatever you're aiming at to give you some kind of validation that your sights were true or your shot actually went where it needed to be. So I think the first big thing one has to be careful of with these is that you don't 100% become reliant on the little red dot showing up on the target, because what that teaches you is to look over your sights and look for that validation instead of really communicating with the gun and what the sights on the gun are telling you. That's one thing one has to be careful of. And I think that's kind of predominant with anything we do in dry fire. Now, on the other hand, what a laser cartridge can do for you if you're potentially not 100% truthful with yourself when you're working on a technique and your sights aren't really where you're assuming they are, or the trigger press pulled the sight picture off target and you haven't tuned your vision enough to see that. Sometimes without a validation device, it can be problematic. So what and how I like to use these is periodically, if I feel like, I'm slipping on my visual understanding of what the gun's telling me, what the sights are telling me in dry fire, I'll pop one of these in and actually just make sure the feedback on what the target's telling me and what my eyes are telling me are the same thing. So really, I will probably go maybe 4 or 5 times a month, and I'll pop a laser cartridge in and just do my regular routine and make sure what I think I'm seeing is what I'm actually seeing. So how that looks just right here, I've got my HKVP9 on with a laser cartridge already installed, and I've got a 2 camera setup here, so hopefully you guys will be able to see that. And we're really right where my sights are. So the spot on the target that's giving me feedback and my sights are giving me the same feedback. So really, what I like to do is just go through my regular routine, whether that be transitions, whether that be drawing, multiple shot stuff on a dead trigger, and just make sure that the information on target in dry is aligning with my assumption of what the sights are telling me. And there's a couple other good benefits you can get from this as well, but let's try and do a couple draws just for fun. Not really pushing, just make sure what the sights are telling us and what the target is telling us are aligned, which they seem to be. We could go up to the B8. Yep. We'll go to the right business card. I was a little high. My sights told me that as well. I'll go to the 3x5 card. So yeah, as you can see, I'm getting validation. So it's almost like a truth test of my dry fire. Now, I don't do this for extended periods of time. There are ways and tools that you can use this to gamify like entire sessions. Mantis Laser Academy would be one, which is super useful. I have no issues with that at all. But the way I like to really use a laser cartridge is just a quick validation point. Is everything, all the information I'm getting correct? Can I trust it? Am I making assumptions about a technique without any kind of feedback? That's what happens a lot of times when people work hard in dry and then go to the range and the results don't tend to yield. I think a lot of that boils down to honesty, and laser cartridges are a great tool just to prove and validate the work. I would just caution anyone in totally relying on it, because you could teach yourself some other bad habits. So with that, let's see if I can show you guys one more thing. We're gonna try a little bit quicker on this draw. Okay, we noticed a little bit of left presentation, and then we had a streak going up towards 1 o'clock. That's not letting the gun settle, so that's a whole nother thing that a laser cartridge can teach you. Your sights give you that same information, but sometimes if you haven't really tuned in how to read your sights, an external kind of feedback measurement is good for that. So we'll try and clean that up. We want it to kind of, all right, you're gonna get some movement just how the gun's decelerating, but we wanna get that to be as little as possible. Okay, so we had a little bit like that, and what I saw in my sights and what I saw on the target were congruent, so we still have a little work to do, letting the gun settle. Now we had a little bit like that. So these are good things, especially if you're trying to learn a dot. Just making sure all of these things are in alignment. So one more nice, clean one. And then a last one. There, that's about normal. A little bit of movement with my trigger press, but not enough to take it out of the 10 ring of a B8. And I'm at about 6 yards or so. So this is really representative of the distance I normally shoot at 7 for drills and things like that. So, long story short, I think laser cartridges are immensely helpful when you're trying to learn your sights. If you don't put all of your attention on what's presenting on target, if you're taking the information that's presenting on target and kind of gauging it against what your sights are telling you, just be careful you're not falling into the trap of watching one thing or the other while ignoring it. So just to leave the video, we'll do a couple more. Let's do B8. Good. Let's do 1 inch square. Good. Good. All right. Well, that's it for today, guys. It's something to think about. They're inexpensive, certainly useful in dry fire. Just make sure you're applying it correctly. See you guys next time.